Well, good morning. Welcome to Pittsfield Country Club in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. We're in town to check out a crime scene. Not a recent one, but a crime that happened in 1902. We're going to see the spot where a sitting president was almost killed, and the first Secret Service agent ever to be killed in the line of duty protecting a president was killed right here in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Very few people know about it, but I'm going to show you the exact spot. All right, it was on September 3rd, 1902. You see the country club over there. President Theodore Roosevelt was en route to that country club, traveling south along this road in a horse-drawn carriage. He had just given a speech in Park Square, which is about a mile and a half approximately north of here. Just got to cross this road, and we're getting pretty close to the spot. Just past this fence, you see a guardrail, and this is the spot where it happened. In 1902, let me use a freeze frame here. In 1902, electric trolleys ran along a single track in the middle of this roadway, but at this spot, the road narrowed, and the tracks shifted over to the left as we're looking at it, and that meant a horse-drawn carriage had to cross over the tracks at an oblique angle. So at 9:45 a.m., trolley car number 29, Pittsfield Street Railway, was rushing to get a full load of passengers to the country club to hear the president, and witnesses say that it was going way too fast and it plowed into the president's carriage. Okay, this right here is what's left of Wampanoag Brook. It was much wider back in 1902, and it's the reason why the road narrowed in this spot. Of course, it's also why we know we're in the right spot. And right across the street at 539 South Street, we'll see a red house where the president was taken for medical attention. He was taken here for medical attention. A few weeks later, he would need a major surgery, and then 5 days after that, another procedure. The injury was to his shin. A lot of people believe it contributed to his early death in 1919. Okay, we're over by the courthouse. That's kind of a nice piece there. There's a music academy here. Now, the trolley's operator was Euclid Madden, and he ended up being charged with manslaughter because, tragically, Secret Service agent William Craig was killed when he was thrown from the carriage and he was run over by the trolley. I mentioned earlier it was the first time a Secret Service agent was killed in the line of duty while protecting a president. And the interesting thing is that there weren't supposed to be any trolleys operating that day because of an agreement with the mayor of Pittsfield to suspend service the day that Roosevelt was in town. And the rumor was Madden was being pressured to rush. I think I got cut off there a little bit, but yeah, he was being pressured supposedly to rush That's the rumor. Get his passengers to the country club to hear the president. The railway company defended him in court. He was given a 6-month sentence, during which time he received full pay, and his job was waiting for him the day he got out of jail, which leads a lot of people to conclude that the company knew they were at fault, and if he just kind of kept his mouth shut, they would have his back. But a lot of people believe they were pressuring him to drive recklessly that day. It does kind of make you suspicious. Here's an interesting marker. Peace Party House, home of John and Lucretia Williams. They had a huge party here with a notable feast, a brilliant party with a notable feast when peace was struck between England and the colonies. By the way, as I'm recording this, it's just a few days after Paul Revere's ride, the 250th anniversary of his ride, and of course the day after that, the 250th anniversary of the shot heard round the world and the Battle of Lexington and Concord. As we look at a beautiful sunrise here in Pittsfield, very peaceful. We're out here pretty early in the morning, and it's nice to be out exploring again. A lot of nice buildings here. Now, speaking of John and Lucretia Williams, I'm going to show you that marker over there. Something interesting happened. All right, so this marker indicates that Mrs. Williams, Lucretia Williams, saved the great Pittsfield elm tree. Very, very famous, revered elm tree here in Pittsfield. She actually threw herself in front of the axe when they were going to chop it down. And a time capsule here. Yeah, she threw herself in front of the axe. And they decided not to chop it down that day. And then she and her husband donated all this land here for Park Square, from the tree to that building right there. It's called Park Square now. And that donation was in exchange for basically Pittsfield agreeing not to chop down that tree. It ended up being chopped down in 1864. It had been planted in 1524. Okay, let me make sure I got those dates right. There's a marker here. I think 1524, and it was chopped down in 1864. Yes. Site of the first agricultural fair, too, by the way. And this is a sundial that was placed on the exact spot of the Pittsfield elm, right here. A lot of interesting history here in Pittsfield. And that's how the main square, Park Square here in Pittsfield, came to be. Okay, I've driven way over to the east side of Pittsfield, and that intersection that I'm zooming in on, that vehicle is heading up William Street, and Elm Street connects right there with William Street. So Lucretia Williams will forever be entwined with the great elm. Yep, that's so the vehicle's turning right, they're turning onto Elm Street. The vehicles going straight are going onto Williams Street. All right. Well, hope you've enjoyed this look around Pittsfield, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.